Hey guys, so today we're making another Sunday dinner meal. So today I'm preparing stewed beef ribs. I'm also making some jerk pork chops. I'll be pairing that with some white rice, some fried plantains, some delicious cheesy buttery dinner rolls. All right, we're gonna jazz up our dinner rolls and some coleslaw, fried plantains, and avocados on the side. So let's get started with this recipe. Okay, you guys, so I'm starting with the jerk pork. Okay, so for my pork today, I'm using pork loin chops. You can use like pork shoulder if you want to make like true authentic jerk pork, but any type of pork shoulder slice will work for this, or pork chops. So I seasoned it with some green seasoning, then I mixed some onion powder, garlic powder, salt, black pepper, ground cumin, and paprika together. All right, I also added a little bit of ground clove in that, and I mixed all of those seasonings together and poured it on top of my pork. And you want to rub those seasonings into the meat really well. Then I also added a few drops of browning sauce. All right, so that's gonna help give the pork that nice color we're looking for. You don't want to add too much of it. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna add to the jerk pork to get it nicely marinated is, of course, the jerk seasoning. So I'm using Walker's Root mild jerk seasoning, and I'm gonna add a few tablespoons of that into the pork and rub it really well. Okay, then what you want to do, you guys, is cover the pork really well and place it into your refrigerator overnight. Okay, this is very important. The jerk pork tastes way better if you let it marinate overnight, so please try your best to like let it marinate for at least, I would say, about 5 to 6 hours. It makes a big difference, trust me. All right, okay, you guys, so after the pork is nicely marinated for a good amount of time, you're gonna cover it. Make sure it's covered with foil paper. All right, preheat your oven to 375 degrees, and once your oven is preheated, you're gonna place the pork in the oven and let it bake for about 1.5 hours. Okay, so you're gonna start smelling that nice aroma from the jerk pork. It smells so good. Yeah, so halfway through the 1.5 hours, if the cut of your pork is thicker, then let it cook for about 2 hours. All right, but halfway through that cooking process of 1.5 hours or 2 hours, you're gonna take it out and use a turkey baster or a spoon to baste the sauce in the pan on top of the pork. Okay, then you're gonna cover it, put it back, and let it cook for the remaining of the 1.5 hours or 2 hour mark. So after the 2 hour mark, we're gonna remove it from the oven one more time. All right, and this time you're gonna remove the foil paper, and once again you want to baste it with that delicious sauce. All right, and then you can also flip it and baste it again, and then put it back into the oven, this time uncovered, for about 45 minutes to 1 hour, until the pork looks done cooked. All right, and then once it's finished cooking, I baste it with the sauce in the pan one last time, and that's it, you guys. You could chop up the pork to make it look more like jerk pork usually look cut up, or you can serve it as is. All right, it's up to you, but yeah, you could use your butcher's knife and just make some slices and set it aside, and we're finished making our jerk pork chops. So let's move on, you guys. You can also sprinkle the jerk pork with some fresh parsley chopped up, or cilantro, for that nice garnishing effect. And yeah, so now, you guys, we're gonna make our stewed beef short ribs. Okay, so I got my short ribs in this bowl right here. Okay, and I'm gonna season it. So I'm using a mixture of onion powder, garlic powder, salt, black pepper, ground cumin, paprika, basically the same seasonings I use for the jerk pork I'm using here, without the jerk seasoning. All right, and then I'm also gonna add some green seasoning on the ribs. Okay, so add all of that seasoning in the bowl and mix it into the ribs really well. If you guys are looking for a recipe for fresh green seasoning, I have one on my YouTube channel. I'll link it in the video down below so you can check it out. All right, it makes a difference when you're making meats or anything like that. All right, so next I'm gonna add a few drops of the browning, again just a few drops, and yeah, mix it really well into the ribs. Next, cover that and let it marinate for at least 1 hour. Okay, you guys, so here's a few other ingredients we're gonna need to make our short rib stew. So I sliced up some onion, also sliced up some scallion, and minced a few cloves of garlic. All right, later on in the cooking process you're also gonna need some fresh cilantro, but that's still the last, but you could cut it up now as well. Then I peeled and cubed up some potatoes and sliced some carrots. All right, so prep those ingredients and then let's get cooking. So I'm getting my pan nice and hot. Once it's hot, I added a little bit of oil, enough to coat the bottom of the pan, and then I'm gonna start placing the ribs in the pan. So what you want to do here is over high heat, but so set your stove to like medium high heat. You're gonna sear the ribs on each side until it forms a nice brown color. All right, it should have a nice brown crust on each side. Just keep flipping it as it's getting nice and brown. This is very important to keep all that nice flavor inside of the ribs and to keep it nice and juicy till the end. Okay, so after I'm finished doing that, I'm gonna start adding in the water into the pot. So I'm gonna add the water first in the bowl I use to season the ribs. All right, so the leftover marinade in that bowl, I want it in my pot. All right, that's flavor. So we're gonna add some water in the bowl, kind of wash it down, and then add it into the pot. So I added about 6 cups of water to start. And yeah, so add in the water. Next, I'm gonna add in the minced garlic, the scallion, and the onion we sliced up. Okay, do not add the cilantro yet. Keep that on the side until we're ready for it in the ending. Okay, so after that I'm gonna add in some, so you should add in beef bouillon cubes, but I didn't have any, so I'm using chicken bouillon cubes. All right, but beef bouillon cubes, add in about 1 of that. And yeah, you guys, mix it in your dish really well, give it a good stir, and then I'm gonna cover my pot and let it start coming to a boil. Okay, so once the pot starts boiling, I'm gonna taste the sauce and adjust my seasonings as needed. So I ended up adding in a little bit more salt, but taste your sauce and see where it stands at this point and adjust it a little. Okay, so yeah, I added some salt, and then I'm gonna add in some ketchup. So you can use ketchup, or if you have tomato puree, you can use that instead. Okay, it's up to you. And just mix that into the pot really well. And basically at this point, you guys, you're going to turn your heat down to about medium low. Cover the pot and let the ribs take its time and cook. Okay, it's going to take a while to get it nice and tender, but that's what we're looking for. It took me about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. All right, you want it tender. Trust me, it's worth it in the end. Alright, so our ribs is cooking and stewing and doing all that good stuff. So now I'm gonna prepare my coleslaw. Alright, so I'm grating my carrot, and then I'm also gonna grate 1 garlic. Sometimes I add a little piece of onion as well, and I grate it in there. Alright, it has good flavor. Then I'm gonna grate my cabbage. I'm using, of course, green cabbage, and you want to shred all of that in the bowl. Okay, so next I'm adding a little bit of sugar into the coleslaw and a little bit of salt. All right, and the last ingredient I add in my coleslaw is mayonnaise. I'm trying this mayo today. I wanted to see what it tastes like because it has a hint of lime, I believe, in it, and it actually tasted pretty good in the coleslaw. All right, so yeah, add a few tablespoons of mayo in the coleslaw and mix it really well until it's nicely blended together and creamy. And then after that, you're gonna cover your coleslaw and put it in the fridge until you're ready to serve. About to start making my dinner rolls. Alright, so I'm spraying my baking dish with some non-stick cooking spray. I line the baking dish with foil paper for easy cleanup. Alright, and yeah, set the baking dish aside, and of course I'm using store-bought dinner rolls. Alright, let's make it easy. And I'm just gonna place the dinner rolls on the baking dish. Then you guys, it's pretty easy. We're just jazzing up our dinner rolls a little bit. Alright, who wants basic dinner rolls all the time? So I'm gonna use some softened butter and just brush the top of each dinner roll with the butter. Then I'm gonna top it off with some cheese. I'm using a blend of Mexican cheese. You can use that, you can use cheddar cheese. And next we're gonna sprinkle on some freshly chopped parsley flakes, and that's it, you guys. So after that, preheat your oven to 375 degrees and place it in the oven. So you're basically placing it in the oven with the ribs, okay? And let it bake for about 5 maybe 10 minutes, just until the cheese is nicely melted and slightly golden brown. And that's it. So yeah, you guys, we can set our dinner rolls aside until we're ready to eat. Okay, so let's go back to our stewed beef ribs. Alright, and as you can see, it's looking good. So the liquid is starting to dry down a little bit, so I'm gonna add in a little bit more water in my pot. Okay, about 2 more cups, and cover it, let it come back to a boil. Then once it starts boiling again, you guys, when the ribs is tender enough to like be poked through or sliced a little bit, it don't have to be completely tender, because we're gonna cook it for about 45 minutes to an hour again, or somewhere around that line. So at this point my ribs was cooking for about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and a half. You want to add in the potatoes and the sliced carrots. Okay, so you add those in towards the ending of your ribs almost being cooked. All right, so add it in, mix it in really well into the pot. Okay, you guys, and once the ribs is nice and tender, once it's falling off the bone, and you can take 2 forks and like shred the beef, it's finished cooking. Like, just look at it. Don't it look so comforting? Honestly, this was so delicious. It was so tender. It's so tender. I enjoyed this meal. So that's it for this recipe, you guys. The last thing I do to these ribs is I sprinkle in some freshly chopped cilantro in there, mix it in to the dish, and I turn off my stove. Okay, so the last thing I'm preparing today is my fried plantains. So I'm peeling my plantains, and then I'm gonna slice them lengthways. You could slice them in circles or however you prefer, and then we're going to fry them up. So I place a little bit of oil in the pot, not too much oil, but enough to fry them. And then once the oil is nice and hot, I added the plantains and I fry them on both sides until it's nice and golden brown. Don't turn your backs on plantains, you guys. Don't do it. It's not worth it. They will burn on you. So yeah, every time I turn my back on my plantains, they burn. So you just gotta dedicate time to these. But yeah, so fry them up nice and golden brown, and then I place them on paper towel to soak up the extra oil. And yeah, we're finished making Sunday dinner. So the only thing I didn't show you guys in this video is me cooking my white rice. If you'd like to see how I make perfect white rice that tastes so delicious, just check my previous video. I'll link it down below for you guys so you could check it out there. Okay, and here is our Sunday feast, you guys. Don't it look so good? But yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the recipes. I hope you give them a try. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Look at those ribs. Don't they look so good? Falling off the bone. Look at the potatoes, perfectly cooked. Yummy.